Hello again, everybody. It is the American Doofus Show. Do not be a doofus. I'm your host, Barry Welsh, and thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you're not a subscriber, like and share. And pleasure to welcome Chris back to the show. Chris, how are you?
Pretty good. How about yourself? And I want to say thank you for having me back.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you back. I always appreciate your perspective. Um, Presidential election is less than 2 weeks away, and it's very contentious. Um, what are your thoughts on what's going on and where we're at? And has it impacted the security business, the contention
Um,
of the election?
the From what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, um, there's going to be some sort of rift between the left and the right. Okay, the
Okay.
far left and the far right. Now, what I've been gathering from uh, just things that I've heard about, like Antifa and Black Lives Matter. Um, they're showing you what they want you to see right now. Okay.
Okay.
But after election time comes, you don't know who's actually been training them, or if they've been trained, or who's funding them. But whoever's funding them, there's a lot of money that goes with them. So therefore, they're going to be able to acquire weapons, all right, training, and do whatever they need to do to actually um, achieve their objectives. All right. So what they're showing you right now is what they want you to see, but that's nothing to say what's going to happen um, when election results are final. All right. And then also on the far right, um, I don't know who's funding them. You have like multiple groups on the far right, and you never know who's funding them if they are being funded. All right. And then the same thing applies with them. Weapons training. You don't know who's funding them and who's training them as well. So right now, everything's. I mean, there's been some. Of course, there've been clashes, Seattle, Portland, and then other places. But possibly after the elections, it could get significantly worse. Now, on the security side, on my side, um, from like even with my company, like I would talk to DHS, Department of Homeland Security, say, hey, look, you know what? Uh, this is what we have to offer you because our government, to the best of my knowledge, is not very good at, should we say, handling insurgencies. Okay. The military is not very good, as you can see, um, and going back to Vietnam, okay, Iraq, Afghanistan, those are three insurgencies that we pretty much lost. So I mean, we're not very good at it, and it's not really any put down to our military at all. But when you stick conventional forces into in a regular warfare environment, all right, that's going to be a loss all day because conventional forces aren't meant to deal with irregular warfare or irregular warfare, guerrilla warfare. Guerrilla warfare is just a form of irregular warfare. So our conventional forces aren't really meant to deal with that. The only forces that are really meant to deal with like insurgencies are it's going to be special forces, you know, uh, maybe SEALs, but SEALs are more or less direct action. SF is more or less they do what we call foreign internal defense, and that's preventing insurgencies. You know, we call it maintaining, building, and partnership with security forces within maybe a host nation government. So actually we can actually put down the insurgents in the insurgency. So basically, you have like unconventional warfare and foreign alternative defense, which are just opposites. Unconventional warfare is nothing but guerrilla warfare. It's basically overthrowing of the government, and foreign alternative defense is the opposite of that, where you're actually helping the government put down the insurgency.
Okay.
So it's more or less it's going to be your special operation forces that are, going to have the best knowledge or actually have that knowledge on how to put down insurgencies.
Okay, so basically, what I'm hearing is when it comes to conventional warfare, we're the we're the baddest cats on the block
Exactly.
in
It's
the
all
war.
day.
But when it comes to possibly putting something down inside our own country, no matter who starts it, no matter who's involved with it, the government, the military might not be prepared for that. Correct?
Right. So, you're going to have a lot of companies come out. You'll see a lot of companies come out that deal with irregular warfare or unconventional warfare to, maybe propose things to the government. Say, hey, look, we can do this to get your people squared away so they can train, the police and other state actors on how to put down the insurgency.
Okay. All right. On a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being absolutely nothing happens to 10 being total chaos across the country, where do you think we sit right now?
Right now, we're pretty much about a 6 or 7.
Yeah.
That we're sitting actually about 6 or 7. I mean, as you can see, it's been a progressive buildup. Okay,
Yes.
it's been a progressive buildup since the whole George Floyd thing. That was just like the spark to ignite the fire. You know, and the whole protest, um, the protesting, um, yeah, it was a spark, but there was something honestly behind it. You know what I'm saying? There's someone's looking for a catalyst to push their agenda. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the George Floyd killing, what was that? You know, and also possibly the Breonna Taylor killing was also, another spark to get this thing like really kicked off. But then when it comes time for the elections and things don't go the way people want them to go, well, then you're gonna really see America. You're really gonna see what's really like in a wartime scenario here in the United States.
Wow. Um, I was I so appreciate your perspective because it's not one from emotion. It's one from facts. And um, like, the thought is terrifying to me, and so much so that I don't know if you heard this or not, but I proposed a peace summit. I proposed an online Zoom meeting so nobody's in any physical danger of who we might consider to be the major players, the 4 national militias, the defense groups for the African American people, the um, potential rogue groups. Just try to get everybody together to talk to see whose side is who going to be on if this does happen, and is there a possibility that there might be more common ground than um, conflict. Um,
I,
Go ahead.
I really think that I really don't think people want peace. I'm really believing. I'm really starting to believe that people really don't want peace, and they want conflict. That's what I really believe.
Yeah,
And
and that's
people,
what I want
like I
from.
said,
That's what
and I mean, just from the whole Black Lives Matter and Tifa thing, you know, uh, like burning down police stations and attacking the police, stuff that's the starting of an insurgency all day long. Okay,
Yeah, I was really
and I mean,
troubled
if,
when
if people can't see that,
I was
yeah,
really
if people
troubled.
can't see that, yeah, and if people can't see that, then it's almost like you're living with your head in the sand,
Mhm.
and it's really, I mean, I noticed it immediately because that's what I deal with
Right.
when I'm overseas. So um, it's just to me, I just didn't think here in this country that would have ever come to this. I expected. I expected in other countries, but
Right.
I didn't expect it to happen here, and that's a thing that's troubling to me, you know.
Okay.
So
Um, so um, people don't want peace, and I felt that for so long. I felt like there's so much talk that it has to be taken seriously, and I personally don't think the average American has a grasp of what is coming.
no, honestly, they don't.
Okay,
And I mean, a lot of people sit there and say, "Hey, you know what? Yeah, we want war and this." You really don't.
be careful what you wish for.
Yeah, because it's not something that you can just turn off and on and off. Once it starts, that's it.
Yeah,
You know, and a lot of people will sit there and say, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore." Well, guess what? You're already in it.
yeah,
It just doesn't stop when you want it to stop.
right.
You know, it's
Yeah,
it's a long, sustained campaign.
yeah.
You know,
I'm
and
saying 6 years minimum.
right, right, and it's just people really don't understand, what war really is. Like I said, I spent 3 years in Afghanistan, like I said, as a U.S. advisor, training, those foreign troops, and then with me training them and making them operational, you take them out. So whatever happens to them happens to me too. So if we get into a tick, which is what we call troops in contact or a firefight, I'm dead square in it. When people get blown up, I'm there with them. you know so I really don't think people are really ready here in the States for the stuff that's overseas, that we're going to be that's actually being brought here. Okay, they're not ready for it mentally, and physically. They're not ready. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah,
They
we're-
talk the talk, but realistically, they're not even close to being ready.
yeah, yeah. And we're in the middle of a pandemic.
Right, right. So I mean, you just add an insult to injury,
Yeah,
right? You're just one thing on top of the other, and it's just like, people really don't understand what war is really about. Okay, when people start making these IEDs and IEDs, improvised explosive device, or vehicle borne IED, it's not very pretty, you know.
yeah,
Um, to see people you see people blown to pieces or vaporized at that. You see, and people here aren't even they can't even begin to imagine what that's like. you
no,
know
no,
they think like you're just going to be shooting left and right, during the daytime. But what about at nighttime? A lot of attacks occur at night.
yeah,
And people, like I said, people just aren't ready for that.
yeah,
They're just not.
yeah,
Mentally, they're not ready. And if that occurs, you're going to start seeing a lot of people start to commit suicide. All right, a lot of people, haven't dealt with rape and all sorts of crazy stuff that happens in war. Okay, so I'm just saying what's real,
yeah,
based upon all my time in Afghanistan, but then all my time on the continent of Africa as well, and the things that I've seen on the continent of Africa. So, it's it's not very nice. That's all I'm saying. And I really hope that things are peaceful here. But that's what I hope. That's what we call wishful thinking,
yeah.
right? But realistically, I really don't see a peaceful resolution in this. I really don't.
That's that's scary. But I had um, Mike Selinker on, and Mike designs war games basically, and he spends his time studying conflict. And and he decided late, kind of like a lot of people are, that it's coming, it's
Hmm.
going to happen, and he ran various scenarios. Um, based around election results and based around uh, previous incidents around the world. And and he too is convinced that it's coming, and it's just a matter of who's against who, and where it kicks off and how long it lasts.
Right, right, exactly. And I totally agree with him. And like I said, but I really hope that there is peace here in the United States. I truly do.
Yeah,
Because like I said, after doing three combat rotations as an advisor, and then all the time I spend on the continent of Africa, it's kind of like, all right, I've seen enough. Yeah, and the last thing, like I said, I really don't want to see that here in the United States. I
I
really
can't
don't.
I can't fathom it, but I feel like it's it's almost like a giant wave coming in, and
Right.
no matter how far you run, it's still going to cover you over.
Exactly. And that's what's coming. Yeah, you got that big wave coming, and when that wave breaks, you
Yeah,
know, once that wave breaks, if you're caught in that wave, you're gonna get swept away. You get swept along with it.
yeah,
You know.
yeah,
So
yeah. It's going to be everything changes.
right,
People don't realize that. I've been talking about, there's going to overpasses are going to be blown up so that the semis can't get through with food and medicine.
right,
And
exactly.
areas are going to be taken by a certain group, and you can't go into that area or get out of that area, no matter what, because you're not part of the group
Right, like that.
that's
Right,
open.
right. Those will be called denied areas, right? That's what we call denied areas, right?
Yeah,
And Al Qaeda, it doesn't matter the group, like MS-13, Boko Haram, ISIS, AQ, they all have those, and even the gangs here in the United States have them.
right,
Those are denied areas. You can't get into this area unless you're part of a part. Either we know you or you're part of the crew.
right.
You're not getting in.
Yeah,
It's just not going to happen.
yeah. Do
So
you see groups like NFAC, NFAR, possibly the Moors? Do you see them trying to quickly establish an area just for them, or are they going to just get caught in this wave because there's not enough time to prepare?
I see. I don't know what they've done preparation wise. So it's kind of hard for me to sit there and say.
Okay,
You know,
that's yeah.
um,
I
the
have a lot of viewers that are going to be curious, and that's why I brought it up, because I know
right,
they would
right.
want to know, what's your opinion um, on what's going down with those groups now, and that's another reason I want to get as many people possible together. Try to to say, hey, look, this, we don't have a problem with you.
Right.
You're supporting your Second Amendment rights, and we're cool with that. It's not about race, and so that maybe when it does come, maybe it's not as full tilt bozo as it might be if everybody just starts thinking everybody hates each other.
Right. And I bet you we have more common ground with each other
Absolutely.
than 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 um than we are different. Because just even when I'm overseas, we always look for the commonality between the groups as opposed to how we're different,
Yeah.
to make a mission succeed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that there has to be a common ground.
Chris, anything else you want to that we should know?
No, I mean that's pretty much it. And if something does happen, you know, it, hopefully people have enough food, enough water, things like that to last them, their medications to last them, um, a good lengthy
A
time.
couple of months.
Yeah, because you don't know.
Yeah, it's not like a
Right,
disaster where you need 72 hours worth of your medication. This is going to
right,
be an ongoing
right,
disaster.
and you don't know if the military is going to be brought. Most likely, if that does happen, then the military is going to be brought out as well. You
Right.
know, They're going to be in the neighborhoods, and you don't know what they're going to say, and what how they're going to start running things. So it's just best that you have ample medication, food, water, supplies to last you for however long. That's all. And I mean, if you have guns, keep your guns.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's all I can really say.
Chris, hopefully we'll talk after the election. Like I said to Mike, hopefully this is just a big giant war game scenario, and nothing happens. But I just don't feel that's the case, and I don't think and after hearing you, I'm certain you don't feel that's the case either. But hopefully we'll talk after the election and everything will be cool.
Great. I'll talk to you then.
I look forward to it. Thanks, Chris.
Likewise. Okay. You have a good day.
Thank you.
All
It's
right.
the American Doofus Show. We talk about things people aren't talking about that they should be talking about, and prime example in this episode. Again, please subscribe, like, and by all means share. Get the word out on this. I love you all. I mean that. And I may be an absolute lunatic, but I'm going to keep trying to bring about peace. Love you all. It's the American Doofus Show. I'm your host, Barry Welsh. Don't be a doofus.